Alright, so we got practice team battle going on. DS taking on Sasiri, which is within DS, so this is internal. But Sasiri is its own team within the team for when things like this happen for training and whatnot. First up, we got Kurai on the DS side, or we should say my side, Nova side, versus Sasiri's Zane. Zane with Aqua Force, of course. The Aqua Force, of course. Going up against Kurai. Sorry, one moment. All over the place because I'm thirsty. Anyway, we're both at grade 2. And Kurai rides ours. Calls Light Blaze. And ours is going in first. Critical happens. So Light Blaze is going to be 14. And if Kurai is smart, he'd attack the rear. He attacked the rear, forcing out 10k guard, which is more than he would have gotten if he had attacked the Vanguard, because that would have been 5k if Zane even wanted to block, because he's in a position where he doesn't really have to if he doesn't want to. Grade 3 Zane rides Zaharis. Is that really Zaharis? That's a cool name. That is not 12, that is 9. But it doesn't matter because it doesn't change the guard. Anyway. Zaharis is not in Legion, so it doesn't get its skills. Any of his skills, so it's 15 to Vanguard. Kurai decides not to guard it, because even though it's only 15, Kurai's at grade 2, so it would take at least 2 units to pass it. And critical happens. That evens things out. And critical. So Kurai only needs 10k to block. If I was him, I'd drop 2-5 so I could Legion. Nope, he just drops 10. I mean, he is at a point where he could actually just build hand by not doing that, so if that's his choice, then nothing wrong with it. He doesn't need to Legion immediately anyway. And now he rides Lightsaber Dragon, calls Surdic, and calls Klein, which I would have actually saved Klein for after Legion just to get the Counterblast 1 plus 4k to himself and something else. Just so that you could have that extra power for that one turn. Because given the exact situation of the way the game is, the match actually could end really soon. It could, not saying it will. Kurai heal triggers. And a perfect guard came from Zane because if Lightsaber Dragon hits, whether it's in Legion or not, he could have discarded one to call any... Is it Seeker or just a unit? No, any Seeker he wants from his deck onto the field. I had to be sure because some units just say call a card, which means it could be anything. So now we have the Legion and an attack. The mate, Ionis, has the ability of when it attacks, if it hits the Vanguard and it's the third battle or more, then he gets the ability to draw a card. And a stand trigger just appears where he can give 5k to Ionis and stand. And Kurai made a technical misplay. You always wait until they decide the power on their triggers before taking the damage. Especially in that case, because in that particular situation, if Kurai had gotten a trigger and given it to Vanguard, it would have actually changed it would have changed Zane's mind on what he would have wanted to do with his play. And that got taken, so Zane gets free draw. You gotta guard those. You have to guard those. I say that mostly because Aquaforce have a thing where if you don't guard the right units, they get free pluses or they minus you for free. And you have to really, really, really be aware of what units do that. Ionis is one of those things. Kurai's turn, he calls a Light Blaze, and he's probably going to Legion. I see him Legioning, and then Counterblast 2 Seekers, so he can give 5,000 power to 3 units. So he's returning Klein, Light Blaze, Critical, and Heal. He was gonna return Seeker, Youthful Mage, but decided not to. And the only reason I can think of him not returning that was because he'd rather have the grade 2s. Kinda surprised Seeker, Youthful Mage is even there. It's not a bad card by any means, it's just there are better options for Seekers by this point. That's a trial deck card if I remember right. Even in the set, after the trial deck, they had better options. But to each their own. Everyone has their own choice. So Lightsaber Dragon can actually give power to himself, and he can give power to his Legion mate. So he can give himself an extra 10,000 power. Good to know if you're up against Link Joker or if you just generally have low field. If I was Kurai, I would have attacked with Vanguard first. When the critical appeared, I would have given the critical to Surdic and given the power to Light Blaze and then attack with Light Blaze to see if he'd take it and then guard the next one or try to guard both or take the critical. So Zahn was about to do the counterblast one in order to use Eric, but he thought about his situation and realized he shouldn't do that. It was either for Eric or it might have been for his Vanguard skill actually, because it can counterblast one to give itself 2,000 additional power, which would make the attack 26. But something made him decide to not do that. So that's 21, that's 26, that's a 1 pass. And that's 2. And a heal trigger. The attack doesn't pass, but Zane does get the heal, putting him down to 4 damage. And he goes 16 to the rear guard just because he doesn't want to deal with that rear guard anymore. I mean, he could have forced guard if he had attacked the vanguard, but he really didn't want to deal with that rear. Yeah, it's the usual time of day when I start getting tired. Kurai calls 2 Purgation Breath Dragon. I actually kind of think he'd be better off riding one, doing another Legion, and getting the superior call from it. But this works too. Let's see, 21, 31. Yep, he has to discard for the perfect guard just to defend. Kurai gets a draw trigger. If a crit appears, nope, no crit. So, for all intents and purposes, Zane should have enough to defend himself, since he can take one. Yep, drops the chef, and he can take the other one. And this is the make or break turn. Zane will likely not have enough hand to get another turn. And he counterblasts 2, which is more than what he needs. Because that puts the overall power of what this is going to be to 28. And he only needs 26 to change guard. Kurai blocks. 28,000. Kurai can't perfect guard, so no guard. He gets the Legion skill off, able to stand up to 2 units, and they both get 5,000. So even if Kurai heals, he's going to have a hard time guarding, and he can't heal. So that's game 1, goes to Zane. Good game, close fight on both sides. On to game 2.